The Latin American region is a region very rich in biodiversity, so many countries have a lot of big issues with biodiversity. I would say that the countries that share the tropical Andes hotspot are the countries that have biggest issues because they have the biggest amount of biodiversity. So Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador are amongst them.
And what kind of groups do you work with? Do you work with indigenous people and use their knowledge to help with the biodiversity problems, or do you engage with government? What's your program?
Actually, I am an ecology professor, so I work with youth, and I am involved with many youth organizations. The Global Youth Biodiversity Network is one of them, which is the youth constituency under the Convention on Biological Diversity. So I work with youth that are engaged in biodiversity issues in many countries in the world.
And do you find that youth around the world are as engaged on biodiversity issues as they are on climate change?
I didn't get you. Are you asking me if youth are more engaged in biodiversity issues than climate change, or should be engaged?
If they are, I mean, there are so many young people here that are very passionate about climate change. Do you think there's a similar movement around biodiversity directly?
Not so much. I think that climate change is a big issue because it involves many social and economical aspects, and biodiversity issue has many social and economical aspects around, but they are not so visible. So we don't have as many youth as we would like to have in the biodiversity movements, and they are not so engaged as they are on climate change.
Have you got a plan to change this?
Definitely. This is one of the main goals of our movement, to have more youth people engaged on biodiversity, and also people that are engaged with climate change already, so they could understand the links that are between biodiversity and climate change and try to work on both of them, because climate change is not affecting just the people's lives, it is affecting also vulnerable communities. And among people, the most vulnerable ones are indigenous people, women, and especially girls and young women. But among biodiversity communities, we also have communities that are more affected than another ones. So if we work on this, we also will help building resilience on the ecosystems that support the lives of communities, people and non-people communities, to be more capable to adapt to climate change and other threats that go